when we're out talking to our customers from Volvo Penta, both on the marine commercial side, obviously, but also on the leisure side, a few of the most common questions nowadays are boating following the same patterns as passenger cars? Will we see a lot of electric solutions on the water soon? We get questions like, is the diesel engine actually dead now? And we will see everything electric within the next few years. So those are really interesting questions, driven much by passenger car development and what we see out on the streets. And this is influencing both the marine commercial market for us and other markets that we target within the marine industry. So I thought I'd let you know a bit on where are we in the development towards sustainable fuels, sustainable after-treatment solutions, as well as then electrification, and what are the projects we're running right now. So a bit of a glimpse of from the inside of what's happening in this transformation from a Volvo Penta perspective. And I'll also share a bit, as Volvo Penta is part of the Volvo group with trucks, buses, construction equipment, and all these products are subject to transformation right now towards new types of fuels, new types of energy solutions. So I'll give you a glimpse of what's the total portfolio that we are developing right now. Just quickly on Volvo Penta. As you might know, we're addressing several different customer segments, and our business is spread around, I'd say, 4 key areas. It's commercial boating, of course, pilot vessel, coast guard, patrol. So much of the vessels that are supporting the bigger vessels that are the target area for this conference. We also have a strong marine leisure offering. And in the marine side, we power everything from 15 horsepower up to 5,000 horsepower. That's our range today. We also have an industrial offer, which is industrial machines, mining machines, every type of equipment that is used to hold containers in the harbor environment, agriculture, forestry, as here on the picture. So several different areas in versatile engines, as well as power solutions, so pure gensets, powering a facility like a big fair like this, with off-grid solutions giving power. So this is kind of the breadth of our business today, and we're part of the Volvo Group, and we build on the products that come from the Volvo Group. Now I only have switching on my what I see here, but not for the dear audience. Well, we're continuing on. The vision for our business, while the slides hopefully uploads behind me, is to become leaders and be leaders in sustainable power solutions. And that's really what this is about. How do we intend to keep our leadership? The 4 segments I mentioned, the marine commercial side, leisure side, we have a stronghold in the market in the types of business we operate. But the questions we also get, along the question of the potential future of the diesel engine, etc., is, well, Penta, what is your position in the future? You're supplying engines, drive systems, integrated systems, helm stations today to the market. What is the position going forward? How do you tend to play a role in sustainable solutions when the engine is gone and other parts of the system changes? So I thought I'd expand on that. But before that, how are we pegging up this vision? Well, first of all, efficiency. If I start on this timeline of movement towards sustainability, efficiency of the products have been our target area since decades back. We have, for example, a propulsion system called the IPS, which is reducing fuel consumption in a typical vessel by up to 30%. I'll give you some use cases of that. So that is working on efficiency with the current products. And then moving towards making sure our footprint in production. We had the first CO2 neutral production facility in the Volvo Group, working with World Wildlife Foundation, setting targets in our product development and committing them to organs like the UN and the World Climate Savers program, making sure that we stretch ourselves in product development. We have approved, which I like very much, all our engines in commercial use, in leisure use, for industrial equipment, for HVO, hydrovegetable oil, second generation fuels that immediately in the current infrastructure can take down your CO2 footprint by up to 90%. So that is something that can be done already today when you want to move towards a more sustainable power solution. And we tend to forget those, I would call it, pretty simple ways of tuning the infrastructure we already have today. And we talk about the huge technology investments to come to future technologies, but there are a number of things that can be done today. Using HVO instead of conventional diesel is one of them. And then Clean the Seas activation, where we've, through all the fairs that we've participated over the last years, we tend to, and we try to arrange sea cleaning, beach cleaning activities, just to use the fact that we have an infrastructure of people out there, try to contribute locally in society by being part of activation in this Clean Seas campaigns. But then back to products, and I'll expand a bit on the current efficiency of the product, where I started out, as well as where are the products going for the future. And for those who recognize the picture, it might be a bit hard to see. This is Älvsnabben 4. For those who are from Gothenburg, you know this operates passenger traffic across the Göta Älv. One of our projects that we're getting hands-on with right now is to rebuild this vessel to a full electric operation and see how that changes the prerequisites of running the vessel in the same operation as it does today. But a bit of a deep dive on where we are product-wise in this transformation then. This is one of the commercial vessels that we have installed today. It's one of the Njord wind farm service operation vessels, a catamaran. It has a quad installation of what we call our IPS solution. So forward-facing pods, one engine per pod, up to a quad installation. This is a total installation of up to 4,000 or 5,000 horsepower, roughly, pending rating of the package. A package that typically replaces 2 bigger CAT engines or MAN engines, etc. Just by sheer efficiency of the system, you get a 30% reduction in fuel consumption, but you also get increased bollard push, which is important in this type of application. You get better maneuverability, you get full joystick steering, etc. So bringing a lot of, or a number of features for the specific usage in wind farm servicing by installing this propulsion package. I would say the shortest term upgrade of this towards sustainability is the introduction of IMO Solutions. And for those of you who have looked into SCR after treatment and you've seen what is the SCR after treatment installation needed for a 25-30 liter engine, and you compare it to the SCR, which is on this picture per engine, size-wise, we're able to supply a much more compact solution, accommodating installation in already built vessels instead of needing to rebuild the engine room. So also working with the layout in the boats and making sure it's dense and packaged in a different way helps us work towards sustainability in this market. But this is what is for today, and I promised you some glimpse into what we're doing for the future as well. So this is how when I talk about the Volvo Group and how we envision the logistics systems going forward, we try to engage ourselves not only in the buses, the products, the construction equipment, the propulsion systems for the smaller vessels. We're also part of activities to look at how does this entire flow of goods and people and quarry material, containers, etc. work, and how do we make sure that that can operate in a seamless way when we move towards both automation and connected equipment, as well as electric drivetrains that needs a specific charging pattern, for example. And where we are right now is that we're rebuilding a number of our test vessels. This is an example of a vessel that we operate out of Krossholmen here in the archipelago, one of our test facilities where we are rebuilding, testing, running thousands of hours with the equipment that we are developing. So this PTA 81, as its nice name, is rebuilt now for a full electric IPS installation that we intend to run now during wintertime and test, okay, how does this work in full operation? Not only to test the actual technology and the installation, which is a learning in itself, but even more importantly, to learn what's the charging pattern needed, what are the speeds we can operate practically. We can all do that on the desk and we can calculate it nicely, but putting it in the water, running it in the harsh conditions during winter will give us a very different experience than just doing everything at the desk. We're rebuilding Älvsnabben, I already mentioned that, will be put in operation later on. we are working with both Chalmers University and ABB, which I know are here, on charging systems. How can we work and install charging systems that might, and this is a visionary picture of course, that might accommodate public transport systems both on road, hopefully with Volvo buses, and on the water, hopefully with Penta propulsion equipment, and making sure that works in a seamless logistics systems. And then we're also part of something called the Electricity, and that's an initiative by Volvo together with the city of Gothenburg and a number of different partners to look at how about managing our transport system of refuse, of people, as a total system solution. So using electric buses and the management system for that, electric refuse trucks, electric distribution trucks, and then with Älvsnabben also going on water when it comes to passenger traffic. Starting to look at the city as a system of transportation, which is not only tendered in spot-wise between those different modes of transportation, but a system that fits together. And if we look at the trend among the bigger cities in bigger cities in the world, this is what is driven by the Paris Agreement, by the bigger states, and what we see as tenders when we take it as a group perspective. So this transformation is pushed pretty heavily right now by the political agenda and wanting to be a leader in sustainability from the larger cities out through the world. When it comes to the broader platform, and I promised to mention something on that as well, I've covered refuse trucks, I've covered buses, I've covered propulsion systems for marine, obviously. The only two things I'd like to mention here is also the construction side. And this construction side, this picture of the loader and the hauler is from a test, again, that we've done here in the Gothenburg area. We work together with Skanska, one of the bigger construction companies, to electrify a site. So taking out the diesel, making sure that all the products run on electric solutions, so the hauler is fully electric and also fully autonomous and connected. It doesn't have a driver, as you see. It works in a clearly defined pattern, going between the blasting area, through the loading process, moving to the crusher in a predefined process, which makes the quarry, in this case, a production facility with much higher efficiency, reducing up to 90 or even 95% of CO2 only in this type of installation. So moving equipment to next generation, that's what we're doing. And as well then, which you might have seen in the news, what we call the Vera, the fully autonomous truck. So a truck that doesn't have a driver, a truck that is guided on a full electric drivetrain, full autonomous solution, and the first projects where we put this in operation is between the logistics hubs, so to say. So not in the harbor, but between the different logistics hubs, taking the containers out to the cross-docking area and onto road transportation. So all this is available to us as pick and choose technologies to put in operation into the marine environment as well, like the Älvsnabben boat. So this is how we try to push ourselves towards sustainability, and as well work with the cities, the big operators, and making sure that we have progression in this area. Then, doing all this, what are we learning about technology? And isn't it just now to flip the switch and make everything electric? Well, I think it's a bit more to it than just transferring, because we are changing the business models. For example, buying a vessel with a big battery pack is very different, because then you suddenly pay for the battery pack while you build and you install the vessel, as compared to refueling it on a continuous basis, which is then suddenly becoming purchasing cost, which was previously operating cost, which means that we are shifting the business models between the different parties in the supply chain, and that is only one of the challenges. Then, of course, we have the safety aspect of electricity on the water. We have a number of different learnings, which means that all the different parties, the classification societies, the builders, the yards, the operators, need to think about this. How will this work in the future? And our approach to that is to build the test projects, make sure the test projects are commercial, like putting Älvsnabben in operation, like putting the Vera truck in operation, like setting up the electric site, and then monitor and understand how does it work, how do we tune the business model, how do we make this into reality. So getting hands-on, not sitting down at the desk and trying to figure out how will this evolve for the future. But it will take time. I promised to answer the question on the diesel engine. Well, from our perspective, the conventional propulsion systems will be around in the industry for decades, and we'll see a proliferation of different types of propulsion systems going forward. Everything from electric to conventional diesel and all the different fuels and setups you can imagine in between. The world is becoming more bespoke or more adapted in the sense towards the exact usage pattern of the application you're building, and that's what's coming with this new technologies. Finally, this is how we envision ourselves as a partner for Volvo Penta then, out in the world of shipping and commercial transports, as well as then a partner for the operators when things land on shore and are to be distributed out towards the cities and of course in the cities as well, and then picking up the garbage, bringing it out of the city in the future. So partners in the transport value chain, helping our operator customers to manage this transition in a good way. So that's a bit on our journey towards sustainability from Volvo Penta, stretching a bit from our current marine offer and what we're doing, but a bit of a broader perspective of what the group, the Volvo Group is doing here as well, and how we can play with the different technologies. So, if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Is there any questions from the audience?
Nothing spontaneous. Let's invent one.
Let's invent one. Yes. Stefan, is it? Yeah. Thank you. Well, I thought of this technology development you meant, and what is your thoughts of the market development's future? Is it? Are we just going to see electrified cars and electrified ferries in the future?
Depending how you see future, I think over time we'll see a bigger portion of that. But if I look at the use cases we are doing today, and I think the public debate is, if you take all the different modes of transports, it's all about technology right now, and we seem to think sometimes that, well, everything will be automated within a few years and then everything will be electric as well. But we're not really meeting the technology possibilities right now with how does it accommodate new use cases, and is it actually doing the job that it's supposed to do? I think there is still a bit of a gap between what the technology can achieve in itself and what is actually useful for the operator or for the user or whomever it might be. So we try to spend much time understanding how does it work when you put it in practice, and how do we take that back into solutions that are not only for the tech savvy, but actually put in operation in a beneficial way for an operator of a vessel, for example. Yes. So it will take a long time before we're completely switched to all the new technologies. For example, the Veras of the world, this autonomous truck, will not be the only truck you see on the road within the next 3 years, but maybe over, I don't know, 20 years from now.
Yes.
Who knows?
Who knows? You mentioned also that project Electricity,
yeah,
which I think is quite unique cooperation project. How did it start, and can we apply that to other cities globally?
I think starting out where it started, I think it started in the buses area, because buses has been first out in electrification. If you look all over the world where it comes from, and Volvo, being a leader in buses as well, started to put the first buses in operation in Gothenburg, and then the idea has kind of grown from there, adding additional products, having a vision of a city coordination, starting to discuss all these parties in the city that doesn't naturally talk to each other on these type of subject, bring them together on an innovation arena, and then it's kind of built itself from there, and I'm sure it will continue evolving into new areas as well. I know there's a large interest from other cities in the world as well to study what is happening in Gothenburg, and of course we like that.